Good morning. It's morning for us.
Good morning, everybody.
And welcome to Car Chats. And on this episode, we will be talking about
what happens when you and your spouse are having trouble communicating. This is such a big topic.
Yes.
And I should talk louder so I can probably be heard.
So there's various forms of communication, but I think we could focus on one that people totally forgot about that's kind of beneficial, which is writing. Yeah.
Dum, dum, dum.
So when we first met 15-ish years ago.
It's been that long?
Yo, it's 2022.
God.
What? What were you about to say? Oh. Anyway.
Time has flown.
I moved overseas within 6 months or so of us meeting and dating.
And that was also my first flight.
To come visit.
I don't recommend it. Take a shorter one first.
Right. While I was overseas, in order to communicate with one another, we wrote letters back and forth. Yes, email existed.
And we had Skype.
Yeah, Skype.
And was it Yahoo Video?
Yeah, something like that. But the most effective, or probably the most communicative, was a notebook that I wrote in, put in the mail, sent it to him.
And I filled it out and sent it back. Yeah. Along with a bunch of other American goodies that she couldn't get for cheap.
Right. Nothing like a love letter from your honey and some Oreos. But that was so effective of, one, communicating what we're thinking, two, getting out frustrations.
You're able to deal with emotions in a way that you couldn't deal with in face-to-face or through voice.
Right.
So I was able to write it down, and the time that it took to get back and forth. Yeah. You were either calm enough to take it objectively and understand it effectively. Yeah. The things I've been telling my clients lately is the more defensive each partner gets, the less likely there's going to be a resolution. Mm-hmm. Once you're in defensive mode, you're just trying to protect yourself and make sure that you're right, or make sure that your partner see you're in, and you don't see the whole problem objectively. And you end up arguing over things that's not even a part of the argument. Yes. You started arguing. You went from somebody overspent and overdrafted the bank account to you ate the last piece of candy. And you're like, what does that got to do with the bank account? Because it all funnels down to your emotions, right? Yeah, and you just start looking for things to blame on each other. And that's not helpful or effective. Yeah, it's wasting time and energy that you both don't have. What writing is awesome. It allows you to get everything out. Yes. And allows your partner to read it. And since writing has very little tone. Right. It's really hard to imply emotion and tone in writing. I mean, you can write in all caps or boldface if you're typing to show anguish or to show that you're serious. But all in all, you have to be very effective with your words to imply sarcasm. You have to use proper vocabulary to imply that you're really mad, other than typing, I'm mad, 10 times across the page. But you really have to express yourself and be thorough with it in order for the other person to understand exactly what you're thinking and feeling. Yes. Do not text, though. Do not. We're not talking about texting, guys. Texting, your response is too quick, it's too in the moment, it's too immediate. Mm-hmm. And the text has no tone, but it has an implied tone based on the last conversation you guys had. Right. Do not text. Write it out. We're talking old-fashioned pen and paper. If you have to type it, type it. But old-fashioned pen and paper, to sit down, that slowness
is effective.
It allows you also to not second guess, but double check your thoughts and make sure that you're getting the right information out as well.
Like, did I really mean it that way, or should I rewrite this or rethink this through and deliver it in a different way? It has been effective for us even now, 15 years later, 11 years into marriage, when we've had a recent big spat. It's like, let me just write down what I am trying to imply. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I want. Now you tell me what you're looking for and what you want. And it works.
It helps. It helps a great deal, especially because I can get stumped in arguments, trying to process and get everything and try to come back. And writing it out just slows down the process, allows me to focus, make the main points, come back with a resolution. And if it's not a resolution that's needed, it makes me come back with more thoughtfulness to the problem and thus act on it.
So hopefully that helps. Once you guys get past that stage, I have a suggestion that we have done twice now in our marriage. We take an envelope and we write a year on it, a year in advance, 4, 5, 10 years in advance. And then you write a letter to yourself about how you think and feel of your spouse, your lifestyle, your particular careers, everything. Write down what you are thinking and feeling at that moment and seal it up in that envelope and put it somewhere safe. That way, in the future, you could crack it open. And
hopefully you'll thank your future self, or you'll thank your past self.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or don't like your past self.
I think our next one is 2024. I think that's when we open the next one, which will be almost 10 years later.
I think so.
Yeah, 8 or 10 years that we closed it up. It's a time capsule for our thoughts, our emotions. And we put in like, I hope in 10 years I'm doing this. I hope in 10 years we're still married. I hope in 10 years we are accomplishing this, or I hope we have this many children. I hope, like, anything we hoped, anything that we're feeling. I love you today. We fight rarely over this, but we might argue over that. And it just shows our progression. And sometimes the little things that are irking us today won't matter when you realize how much you accomplished and grew from the last chunk of years.
Yeah, and that was the other thing I was going to mention is you also get to measure your growth. Mm-hmm. You get to measure your growth together. You get to measure your growth individually, and how your emotions and what you liked and what was important even changed at that time. Mm-hmm. So that's the other thing is what we wrote about 8 years ago still relevant today.
Right. You'll be surprised if you think about like our high school years, how much we were so traumatized by so-and-so saying this about us. And just immediately 4 years later, after high school is done, you're like, who is that person? What? I don't even think about that. It's no big deal. That's how deep in emotions you can get caught up in decision making. So take the opportunity to write. Old-fashioned handwriting. It is so effective. You're working two sides of the brain.
Yeah. The
reading, the writing, the thinking.
And it just happens it's a way to communicate in a more peaceful way, especially with conflict that seems to always come up or be unresolved.
Yep.
So take the time to write, guys. It's becoming a lost skill.
Yeah.
Exercise that hand. And
your brain.
Yeah.
Take deep breaths. Now, this is a little different than journaling, because when you write in a journal, it's intended for your eyes only. We want you to write down and give each other the letters that you wrote. We want you to write down for the future and give each other that information. So this is meant for sharing. So don't add this to your journal and then share your journal and then upset. That your spouse knows everything that you try to keep. No, we're talking about intentionally writing to your partner, intentionally writing and knowing that your partner is going to read it.
Yes. And this doesn't always have to be conflict.
No.
It can be a love letter. It can be just I'm thinking about you letter. Yeah. It doesn't always have to wrap around conflict.
Yes.
Just an FYI.
Yes.
You know, make your spouse feel appreciated.
Once in a while, right? So we hope this communication style, old-fashioned communication style, will work for you. Try it out, especially if you're stumped, you're in big fights, you guys aren't even talking to each other. You can start with a sticky note and pin it to the bathroom mirror. You can start there. It's like, all I can say to this person is about 3 lines that's going to fit on this 3x3. Start there if you have to, but get it out and work your way up, and use old-fashioned writing when you are that stumped in your communication.
Yes. So, guys, we thank you for joining us for a car chat. Be sure to join Baron Battles Network. The link is in my Instagram bio, which is linked down below. Leave your comments, let us know your thoughts and what problems you have in communicating with your spouse. Till next time, it's been great and we'll see you next time.
Take care, guys.